Peter Murrell was at the heart of Scotland's party of government for more than 2 decades. The chief executive of the SNP, his wife Nicola Sturgeon, party leader. Today he walked into court to enter a plea of guilty. When he left, he had been handcuffed and was in the back of a prison van. We now know that over 12 years, Murrell was embezzling more than £400,000 from party donations.
You burned the toast!
In 2015, our cameras were invited into Murrell's marital home.
I asked you to do one.
I was distracted.
What we can now report is he was already misusing SNP money during this time, shopping for himself and others. Luxury items from the likes of Harrods, John Lewis and Estee Lauder were being delivered to this very house. Murrell then falsified invoices and documents to make it all look like legitimate party expenses.
It's just one of those questions.
Murrell's scheme came crashing down with a police dawn raid 3 years ago. Bags of items were taken away from SNP HQ in Edinburgh. Murrell's infamous motorhome was impounded, bought with £125,000 of the SNP's money. And, of course, that blue tent erected outside his house. We now know police found enough evidence to convict Peter Murrell of embezzlement. What we still don't know is how he was able to misuse such a vast sum of money for so long without the SNP officials noticing in the accounts and without arousing the suspicion of the SNP leader, who was of course his wife, Nicola Sturgeon, sharing this house with him where an array of new purchases kept arriving. The SNP's former treasurer and Nicola Sturgeon were both arrested in Operation Branchform, then released without charge.
In other words, I am completely in the clear.
Some in the SNP did try to raise concerns about the finances. This leaked recording shows how they were met with the ire of the chief executive's wife.
Just be very careful, all of us, about suggestions that there are problems with the party's finances, because we depend on donors to donate. There are no reasons for people to be concerned about the party's finances.
There were in fact almost £500,000 worth of reasons to be concerned. Today, the SNP called a media conference, but it was crashed by one of their own former MPs demanding answers.
I invite all of you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, to have a look at what was really going on behind the scenes and why this pattern of criminal behaviour was able to go on for more than a decade without being detected, going on under the nose of the party leader who was married to the person who was doing it.
Joanna Cherry then made her own way into the media room as the current SNP leader took questions. Was it a mistake for the SNP to have allowed the chief executive to be married to the leader of the party?
We recognise through all of our discussions the centrality of the behaviour at stake here, which is the criminal behaviour of Peter Murrell, for which he is responsible, and he will now have to face the consequences.
You don't recognise any governance as part of that?
Well,
when people were complaining, they were complaining to the party chief executive's wife.
Well, I'm simply saying that we now have good and strong governance in place to ensure that that can be assured to party members.
You haven't yet said sorry to the people who donated.
I'm sorry for what's happened. I'm sorry to party members who feel that way, but I'm one of them too.
Tonight, Nicola Sturgeon said in a statement, "I had no knowledge or suspicion whatsoever that personal items had been purchased using SNP funds." Peter Murrell was once half of the most powerful couple in Scotland. He is now held on remand to be sentenced on the 23rd of June. Peter Smith, ITV News, Edinburgh.